China in talks with Russia to buy oil for reserves. By Bloomberg. Anna Katinaka. Thursday, May 19th, 2022. China is seeking to replenish its strategic crude stockpiles with cheap Russian oil, as seen Beijing is strengthening its energy ties with Moscow, just as Europe works towards banning imports due to the war in Ukraine. Beijing is in discussion with Moscow to buy additional supplies, according to people with knowledge of the plan who asked not to be named as the matter is private. Crude will be used to fill China's strategic petroleum reserves, and talks are being conducted at government level with little direct involvement from oil companies, said one person. Oil was relied this year following Russia's invasion of its smaller neighbor, but the price of its own crude has tumbled as buyers step away to avoid damaging their reputation or being swept up in financial sanctions. That's provided an opportunity for China to cheaply replenish its vast strategic reserves, which are typically tapped during times of emergencies or sudden disruptions. The foreign minister from both China and Russia didn't immediately respond to requests for comments. Details on volumes of terms of a potential deal haven't been decided yet, and there's no guarantee an agreement will be concluded, said one person. The US and UK have pledged to ban Russian oil imports, and the European Union is discussing similar steps, but crude from the OPEC Plus producer is still following two willing buyers, including India and China. For the Asian nation, the heavily discounted oil is an opportunity too good to pass up. Part of this reason why China is continuing to take cargoes originate from Iran and Venezuela. Refiners in China have been quietly buying Russian crude since the invasion, even as a COVID-19 resurgence tends consumption in the world's biggest crude importer. Apparent oil demand last month sampled 6.7% year-on-year, as strict lockdowns confined millions of their homes. The outbreak has capped further gains in oil prices, although Brent is still up more than 40% this year. China doesn't publicly disclose the size of its crude inventories, but a number of companies use tools such as satellites to estimate supplies. Some forecast the nation has the capacity to store more than 1 billion barrels of combined commercial and strategic stockpiles. Third-party estimates also indicate supplies have swelled recently due to COVID-19 outbreak. There's still room to replenish stocks, and it will be a good opportunity for them to do so if they can be sourced on commercially attractive terms, said James Shi, a senior oil analyst at data and analytic firm Kepler. Tapping reserves. Kepler estimates overall stockpiles are 926.1 million barrels, up from 869 million barrels in mid-March, but still 6% lower than a record in September 2020, By comparison, the U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve has a capacity of 714 million barrels. It currently holds about 538 million barrels. China sold crude from its strategic reserves last year in a historic move to try and tame oil prices, which had soared as major economies rebounded from the pandemic. The action had little lasting impact, only deepening stockpiles and raising the prospect that China would need to restock at higher prices. Not long after the sales, the US named China along with the other major Asian oil consumers, including India and Japan, as participants in coordinated release of strategic reserves. It is unclear whether China taped its emergency stockpiles as part of this US led initiative, with assistance from Philip Gladman.